Good morning, everybody. I'm trying to remember to do this. Not that my world is going to end if I don't. All right, big breath in and then exhale. So if you do use an Apple Watch, I like to use flexibility. It's just kind of funny because when we're on the floor and doing some different exercises, it asks me if I want to pause my workout because apparently I am too relaxed and I am not moving my arm enough for it to register. But we're going to start our warm-up, and as always, your warm-up is also an assessment. So this is your chance to go through your body and say, hey, this feels good, this feels tight, this is kind of feeling off today. Good, let's bring it in, and we're just gonna open and close right to the front. So think about open big. So my left shoulder is still feeling a little tight right now. My chest is feeling a little tight and stiff this morning, which is kind of interesting because I don't think we have done a single push-up and maybe only one set of chest presses all week. So we have not done a lot of chest today, but I am still feeling it in my chest a little bit. Good. All right, bring it in. We're just going to swing it up and then swing it back. With this one, again, making sure we're not arching our back here and rounding. It's just nice and tall. It's okay if your arms do not go perfectly overhead. We're just trying to loosen up the shoulders a little bit, finding that range of motion. Good, and here's 2. And 1. We're going to tap it out to the side. Nice, good cross-body reach. So you're wiping everything off the table really quick. This is waking up the back of the body, waking up not the chest, waking up your upper back, the back of your shoulders. Little bit of rotation. This is also starting to get our heart rate up a little. 4, 3, 2. Now we're going to do the side tap, and we're going to do a side bend. Nice, good wave. Lengthen the side of the body. And we're thinking about reaching the arms up, washing a window way up at the top. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, feet hip width apart, little tail feather tuck, arms out to the side. And we're going to do our shoulder circles. Remember, they are shoulder circles versus arm circles. So this is an arm circle. This is a shoulder circle. Change direction. So we're moving from the shoulders, lengthening the fingers. 3, 2, 1. Bring it into the center, and now we're just going to reach up and take it down. A little bit more of a side bend here, reaching towards the ceiling. And my left shoulder is feeling okay today, but this is one of those days I can tell that I slept on it most of the night because it pops just a little bit at the top. So I'm trying to be gentle. That's the thing with this, is try to listen to your body, find that pain-free range of motion. Good, here's 2. And 1, bring it in the center, feet hip width apart, toes pointing forwards. And we're going to start with our hip circles. Good, and change direction. Bring it back into the center, turn the feet out. So I just pivot on my heels, but I'm opening from my hips. So now my knees are kind of pointing out towards the corner as well as my toes. And let's bring it in and switch it over other direction. Good, and now we're going to rotate in. Again, we're rotating from the hips, so now our knees and our toes are kind of knocked in. And we rotate from the hips, not just from the knees down. A lot of times we rotate from the knee down. We want to rotate from the hip down. Good, change direction. And I really struggle, most of you know, with this leg. This one likes to rotate out. Bring it in the center, leg swings. So hold on to something if you need to. And we just start with the front to back. So I do know we've done a lot of deadlifts this week, a lot of lower body, so I'm feeling this in my hamstrings a bit. It's not bad, but definitely feeling a little bit tighter. At 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to switch it over to the other side. Same thing. So just a nice good forward and back. So check your body position. Again, make sure we haven't rotated our hip out. I want you to think forward and back. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in, side leg lift. I personally really like to have my hands on a wall, and we're just going to take it out and cross in front. And we don't want to lean our bodies. We want to lift with the hips. If you can make it bigger, great. It's a big swing. So just like the front to back swing was a big swing, we want to try to make our side to side swing big as well. But your big is going to be different than mine. Here's 2 and 1. So your swing being smaller is okay. So good posture, good position. You take it out, we're going to cross. And you can just come to the midline of the body. So this is a good swing without going too crazy. That stability ball is not in a good place today. Take it out, cross in front. Good. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it back into the center. You're going to take those legs nice and wide, toes forward or a little bit out towards the corner. And we're going to do our little gentle pulsing side lunges. This is one of the exercises that I have to be careful of with my knees, so I'm just very particular about my leg position when I do this. So this one feels pretty good. This one I feel it a little bit on the inside of my knee. So you just want to do a little sit back, a little sit, and a little sit. And it's very small pulses versus bounces. We deepen, we back off, and then we deepen. Good, a couple more right here. 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. We're going to do our forward, middle, and back. We're hinging at the hips, forward, middle, and back. I want you to think about keeping those knees straight. We're talking about my poor hamstrings earlier. This is what we're working on. It's forward, middle, reach it to the back. So if I'm here, even if I'm more upright, I'm forward, I'm middle, and then I'm reaching to the back. Some of you may or may not remember this. Back when we were still in person, we did once or twice where everybody stood in a row and we had to do that ball pass over under. We only did it a couple times, but that was kind of fun. It was tricky though, because we had some very short people and some very tall people in class. Good, one more. Forward, middle, and back. And we're going to carefully bring ourselves all the way up. We're going to keep our legs nice and wide, arms out to the side. We're going to go back to our side lunge, and now we're going to add in that little bit of a torso rotation. Opening the shoulder towards the ceiling. Maybe you're reaching towards the floor. It's 100% okay if you're here, okay? Little side bend. And if you're really tight, you might barely be making a rotation. But I want you to think about sitting back, and it's really take your top shoulder, open that towards the ceiling. So you're going to feel this a little bit in your upper mid back, in addition to a little bit of legs. But again, this is okay. Little side lunge, reach. Good, we have one more right here. Bring it up. We're going to take it into a plank. I'm going to turn just because I don't have a lot of space, but take it down. You can walk it out, you can step it back. We're just going to come down for a nice good plank, lift up, down dog, and then come back to your plank. Good. So down dog and plank. And you can walk your feet forward a little bit Good. Now we have an option, down dog, a little bit of a tripod. So I take my hand back, I reach towards my opposite knee, my opposite toe. Good. We have one more right here. Now we're going to walk it all the way back up to a standing position today. You're going to do a little bit of standing, a little bit of floor. So let's roll the shoulders up, back, and down into our back pocket. Grab a quick drink. I'm debating turning on my fan. I'm warm, but I don't always stay that way during this class. So we're going to start with working on our neck a little bit. You can do this standing, sitting, whatever works better for you. We're just going to take our shoulders down and back in our back pocket. So really think up, back, down. Core is still braced. Shoulders stay nice and level. And we're just going to do a tilt. So we're just going to do a tilt right here. So we're just taking our ear towards our shoulder. What tends to happen, especially if we're tight, is we do this and we pop our shoulder up, or we lean our body. We want to try to just keep the head tilting. One way to think of it is as your ear goes to your shoulder, your other ear is actually going to lift up towards the ceiling. So we want to lengthen the side of our neck here. Good. 2 and 1. Bring it up. Reset if you need to. Shoulders up, back, and down. Ribs tucked. A little tail feather tuck. Keep the torso pointing forwards. We look to the right. We look to the left. This is another one. If we're tight, then we turn and we turn our head, and then our body goes too. We want to keep our body pointing forwards. Just our head turns. And I can feel I'm very tight on my left side today. Again, I slept on that side pretty much all night, so I'm paying for it now. Good. 2 more. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. We're going to make the letter L. Thumb is going to be at your torso. Index finger is going to be at your chin. We don't want to lift and lower. We want to do turkey neck and then go forwards. So turkey neck and go forwards. Imagine if your back was against a wall and somebody was walking by. So we're in a really small hallway and somebody has to walk past you. You're going to plaster yourself against the wall, and that's going to include your head and your neck. So you're just going to take your head, touch it to the wall, and then relax. Press and relax. This is really good at working our neck. This is also really good for working your extensors, and they're the ones that help pull your head back and help hold your head in position versus letting it go forwards. Good. Bring it in, shake it out a little bit. Reset the shoulders, reset your core. We're going to do little circles. So turn to the right. We're going to tuck our chin. Trace your collarbone until your chin is tucked on the other side. Lift your head so now you're looking at the other wall, and then you're going to look forwards. Go the other way. So turn, tuck, trace, lift, and return to center. So turn, tuck, trace, and return to center. So I call it you're tracing your collarbone, or you can consider it you're drawing a smiley face on your chest. So turn, tuck, lift, and center. And we want to make sure we're keeping everything nice and close. So we don't want to turn, tuck, and have our chin go out to the side. It's tuck, really think about the trace. Good. Last one. Turn, tuck, circle it around, and back into the center. We're going to shake it out. We're just going to do some shoulder rolls and shoulder rotations. So set the shoulder blades down and back against your torso. Arms out to the side. Again, we're moving from the shoulders. We're going to rotate up and we're going to rotate down. Rotate up, rotate down. Now, sometimes we start dropping and doing rounding here. I want you to just think about your shoulder. And you can also, it's kind of hard to see, but you can think bicep up, bicep down. And it's not going to be super obvious just because of the way our bodies work. But I really want you to think bicep up, bicep down, and try to keep your arms as close to parallel to the floor as you can get. If you're really tight, your range of motion might be here. We just don't want to turn it into, this is forearms. My shoulders aren't really going anywhere. So down and up. This is a good way to kind of start. Good, and here's 2 and 1. Let's bring it in. We're just going to shake it out a little bit, roll the shoulders. We're going to head down to the floor. And you can do this sitting in a chair, so you don't have to go down to the floor yet. Remember, we always have options, modify as needed, and we're good to go. But we're going to sit cross-legged. Pick a position. So I kind of automatically do right leg on my right leg under. I'm going to switch because this is the odd one out for me. So I want you to get into your comfortable position, and then I want you to switch into the uncomfortable ones. We're going to take our hands lightly behind our ears. We're going to sit nice and tall. And we're just going to start with little side bends. So we want to try not to drop the elbows, and we want to try not to be so big that we lift our hips off the floor. So little side bends. You should feel a stretch. And I want you to think we're sitting with our back against a wall, so we don't want to round our bodies forwards, really tall. Good, now we're going to add a little extra movement. We're going to do figure 8. So we're going to side bend to the right. Now we're going to open the left shoulder back behind us like we're taking our chest towards the ceiling. And now we're going to take the left side and we're going to bend. So we're kind of at a diagonal. Now we're going to open the right shoulder back. Drop the right torso down. Open. Drop. Open. Drop. So we're kind of doing a little figure 8. You can make it a little smoother as you feel more comfortable. And again, if you're really tight, if you don't have a lot of mobility in your upper spine, this might be a very small movement. Good, this is our last one right here. Open it in, and then just do a little bit of a shakeout. We're going to go down onto our backs. So this is one that if you want to stay upright, you're probably going to be in a chair. It's going to be a little different, but otherwise we're going to be on our backs for a little bit. And we're going to take our legs a little bit wider, so hip width or a little bit wider. So our feet are wide, our knees are wide, our arms are out to the side, and we're going to do our 90-90s, keeping our torso close to the floor. And we're just going to go side to side. You can do this sitting if you want to do this sitting. And I know you probably couldn't hear that, but I just had my SI joint pop. So just a good 90-90. So again, this is one that you can do. And that's my shoulder. Good grief. I mean, I guess this is a good thing. We're kind of loosening stuff up, hopefully getting it back into position. But you can do this sitting or, sitting upright. Good, now we're going to take it over to the right. So we're going to do our 90-90s over on the right. So this means kind of like when we do our pretzel, our bottom leg is in front, our top leg is back, arm out, and we're just going to do rainbows here. So we're just going to do a nice good rainbow, open it up and around, and then bring it back around. So just nice good circles up and around. And my bottom leg is doing pretty good, staying glued to the floor. My top leg is not touching the floor. So if yours isn't either, that's okay. But I'm trying to keep it nice and close to the floor. Good stretch. All right, we're going to bring it in, bring it back into the center, and we're going to go over to the other side. So you can just do your 90, roll it over. So 90-90, and then same thing. We're just going to draw nice, good rainbows up and over. Find the range of motion that works for you. So for some people, you might not be able to keep your fingers on the ground while we do this. So just do the best you can. And you might find that you're really tight the first couple, but then you're able to loosen up a little bit, which is always a really good feeling. Good. And let's go ahead and roll it back onto our backs. We're going to take our legs out straight and we're going to do alternating pull-ins. So left leg straight, right knee pulls in, and then we're going to switch. The leg that gets straightened out, I really want you to focus on trying to get the entire back of the leg to come in contact with the floor. Straightening the leg is almost more important than pulling the knee into the chest. So you might be here, and as long as you can get that nice, good straight leg, then that's what you need. So we're trying to think about straightening the leg and then pulling in a way that isn't going to cause that leg to bend or lift up off the ground. We want to focus, we're actually stretching the front, it's hard to see, the front of your leg right here. And I am definitely kind of crunchy today. Good. Here's 2. And 1. Let's bring it in. Feet are touching the floor, knees are bent. Think about a nice, good braced core. We're going to take our arms up. We're going to lift up into a bridge, and as we do, we're going to take our right arm overhead, and then we're going to lower, and then we're going to switch. So we're just going to do lift into a bridge, left arm, back of the hand touches the floor. So we're going to lift and lower. Good, and then lift, arm goes to the floor, lower the hips, and come back up. So in addition to doing that bridge, getting a little glute strengthening, we're working on a little shoulder mobility. Good, a couple more. Lift, and down. 1 more, lift, and down. Good. Let's keep those knees bent, feet flat on the floor. We're going to take our hands by our hips, palms facing up towards the ceiling, low back glued to the floor. We're just going to start to bring our arms up, and I want you to focus on keeping the backs of the hands glued to the floor and then taking it all the way back down towards our hips. Now it's okay if you get to here and all of a sudden you're like, oh, my arms don't go that way anymore. I just don't want you to bend just to get your hands to touch. So I really want you to focus on chest open, belly button pulled in, low back close to the floor, reach the arms up, and then take it back down again. Again, you can do this against a wall. So if you don't feel comfortable being on the floor, you're going to have your torso and your hips touching the wall. Your heels are probably going to be a few inches away, and you're going to try to keep your hands glued to the wall. Good. This is our last one. And bring it in. Let's lift it back up into our dead bug. So arms up. We're going to do right arm and leg are going to move only. So right arm and right heel. So just the right side. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. So think about having your palms facing in. You want to try to take your thumb to the floor. Now, if you want to make this a little bit harder, you extend the leg out, you barely touch the heel down, and you come right back up again. Good, couple more. Goal is 8 to 10. Spine stable. Good, bring it in, feet down. Just take the arms out to the side. Nice, good stretch. And let's bring it all the way back up again, back into our dead bug. Left side this time. So left thumb and left heel. So think about bracing that core, getting that tight. I just did a really, really big sneeze feeling. And again, if you want to make this a little bit harder, that leg, you take the heel down, but you extend the knee. You never really rest that leg on the floor. You just barely touch down. Good. 2 more. 2, and 1. Let's go ahead and bring it in. Take those feet down to the floor. Give the abs just a little bit of a break. Now we're going to take our hands down by our hips. We're going to take our legs up, point your toes, and we're just going to start with a point and a flex. Now the check here is a lot of times we start doing this with just our toes. I want you to think about your ankles. Really think about pointing and flexing your ankles. Here's 2 and 1. Now we're going to add in some inner thighs, so I want you to point your toes. Take the legs out to the side, flex your feet, bring them in, squeeze the legs together like somebody just zippered your legs together. Point the toes, take it out, flex, and pull it in. If it is really challenging for you to have your legs up straight and your legs are down here, what I want you to do is I want you to bend your knees, open, flex, and then bring it in again. So you're going to do the same thing, but your knees are bent. Because if your legs are out here, that's putting a lot more stress on your low back and your spine. And I want you to focus on the inner thighs and bracing the core. Good, couple more. So point, straight out, flex, squeeze it in. One more time, point, straight out, flex, squeeze it in. We're going to carefully take those legs down, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Let's roll ourselves over to our sides. And we're going to do open book. I am just going to quick grab some water because I am very froggy all of a sudden. But we're going to roll onto our sides and we're going to do our open books. So we're going to have shoulders stacked, hips stacked, knees stacked. I want you to pull your knees up so they're about in line with your belly button. This time we're going to take our bottom hand and we're going to pull our knees down into the floor. Top hand, we're just going to take our fingertips out and we're just going to start to open and then we're going to close. So keep those knees pulled into the floor. It's almost like your upper shoulder is opening up behind you, but you're pulling your knees into the floor. So just a nice good open and close. And again, it's okay if you don't pretzel yourself and get all the way to the floor. I want you to think about that movement and that mobility more than anything. Good. Here's 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. We're going to roll over onto our tummies. And we're going to do an alternating scorpion. So go nice and slow. We're going to take our arms out to the side and we're going to start 90-90. And you can use your hand to help. So right hand out, left hand by the chest, and you're just going to roll into the right side. Return to center. Hands are going to switch positions. Roll into the left. Center, switch positions. I tend to go a little slow with this one. My chest is not a huge fan of going quickly. I know some people that can just roll from side to side, and that's just not a good feeling for me. Good, here's 2 and 1. And now let's carefully go onto the other side. We're going to do our open books. So you're going to be, I'm facing away from you on this set. So pull those knees in line with your belly button. Bottom hand is going to grab those thighs. You want to stack your shoulders, your hips, and your knees. Top hand, reach it out. And as we open behind us, we're going to pull the knees into the floor. So the important thing, again, if we're really tight, if we don't pull the knees into the floor, what tends to happen is we open and we want to think, I want to get my arm to the floor. So we let the hips open as well and our knees separate. We want to keep them together because I talked about it earlier this week about compensating. And sometimes we don't even realize we're doing it. But if we're tight in one area, we tend to compensate by using another area. And sometimes that's why we end up with knee pain when we actually have issues with our hips. Good, and here's 2 and 1. Let's go ahead and bring it into the center.
Exercise ring closed.
Forgot to turn my Siri off. We're going to come up to a hands and knees position. And we're just going to brace our cores. Nice, good hands and knees. We're going to do scapular push-ups. So belly buttons in, we're going to squeeze the shoulders together, and then we're going to press. If you kind of struggle with this one on the floor, feel free to go ahead and do this standing, and you're going to have your arms against a wall. Now the trick with this is we don't want to bend the elbows like we're doing a mini push-up. We don't want to squeeze our shoulders up by our ears. And we don't want to drop the tummy and arch the tummy. So we're not doing a full cat-cow type exercise. Squeeze the shoulders, and then we're going to press. And squeeze and press. Good, couple more. Squeeze and press. One more, squeeze and press. And we're going to go ahead and walk our hands back towards our knees, sit our hips back to our heels. We're just going to roll the shoulders up, back, and down into our back pocket. When you're ready, we're going to come up to a standing position again. So come up to a standing position. If you have a band nearby, grab a band. If you don't, you can just do these exercises body weight only. But we're doing nice good stretching for our upper body and a little bit of core today. So we have to do our dislocates and our pull aparts, maybe some of our other ones as well. But shoulders down. And remember, set the shoulders down and back in your back pocket. Brace your core. So we get tight and we start doing pelvic tucking and rounding. The wider you start, the easier this is. So we're going to bring our arms up and around, and then we're going to close it in the middle, open up and around, and then same thing. We want to try to get our thumbs to touch again in the back. It's not going to happen, and that's fine. Bring it out and around, and then come back, and then reach. So up, around, bring it in. This is going to be strengthening those internal and external rotators in addition to loosening up those joints. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I can't do these. That's okay. I want you to come over to your wall. We're going to start back of the hand. When you get to the top, rotate. So now the palm is touching and you circle. Bring it back around and then switch. The farther away you start from that wall, the easier it is. Then you gradually start to work yourself closer and closer. It's all about progression. You start where you are, and then you progress and work your way to where you want to be. Those of you that can do this with me, and you're pretty comfortable with it, when you're ready, you just walk your hands in a little bit. Does not have to be very far. So sometimes just moving your hand in a hand width is enough. And we all know, I have no idea how many we've done. So goal is I want you to work on trying to get 10. So back to front is your 10. I'm just going to do one more for time. Good. Bring it in, shake out the shoulders, wiggle those fingers a little bit. We're going to do our band pull aparts. So again, the wider your arms start, the lighter the band, the easier this is going to be. So arms out, set the shoulders. We don't want to have our arms coming down. We don't want to have them here. Set the shoulders, 10 right, open and close. Open and close. And it looks like I'm turning my body, but I'm not. Good. 4 more. And you can see my other hand is stabilizing. 2, 1. I'm going to go ahead and go into it, reset my shoulders, lock it in, reach it back. So the arm that's not moving, you're stabilizing that shoulder blade. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1, bring it into the center. You can shake it out a little bit, but again, shoulders down and back, brace your core, set your shoulders. 10, and again, we want to try to go pretty far back. We don't want to arch, and we don't want to let it drop. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. We're going to shake it out a little bit. This time, we're going to do pull downs, 10 right, 10 left. So set the shoulders, arms are up. So this is another one where we don't want to pull down towards our chest, okay? And we're not coming down and taking the elbow straight. Arm is up. It can be a little bit at an angle. I want you to pull down. Think about your shoulder blade and lift. 2, 3, good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Reset if you need to. You can give yourself a little shakeout. So again, shoulders down, arms up. They don't have to be perfectly overhead, but we're going to pull down and back. So if I turn, think about your shoulder blade, down and back. 3, good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, take the arms down. A little bit of a wiggle, shake it out. Last exercise, we're going to do some triceps. So we're going to take our arms up, and then we're going to pull it back right here. So my shoulder dropped, so I got to keep my shoulder up, my elbow up, shoulder up, and we're going to straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. Straighten and bend. So you can also see it here. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, set it down, shake out those arms, roll the shoulders up, back, and down into your back pocket. We're going to take those feet about hip width apart, flex the wrists, shoulders down and back, elbows are straight. This is kind of a little bit of flossing. Good. And let's change direction. So elbows are straight, just moving from the shoulder, ball in the socket. All right, let's take those arms out to the side, reach the fingers back, and again, nice good circles, moving from the shoulders, and then change direction. And I'm feeling this in my left side for sure. And release, bring it down, just kind of shake it out a little bit, wiggle those fingers. We're going to take a couple nice deep breaths in right here. So big breath in and out. One more time, big breath in and out. And you are all done.